When firefighters race to save lives and homes, every second counts. But sometimes, the unexpected happens. Today we're looking at 21 of the most shocking accidents involving firefighters crashing while responding to emergencies. What started as a routine emergency response turned to disaster. First responders were addressing a rollover crash on I-94 when a box truck rammed through fire department vehicles and a police cruiser before flipping onto its side. Now there's 3 vehicles that needed rescue instead of 1.
Will he be able to flip it over?
You might have it.
Yeah. Okay, we just had a PI involving some fire truck out here. Send rescue.
Firefighters are always rushing to save lives, but sometimes the traffic doesn't play nice. A fire truck was speeding toward a fire when a car cut in front of it, causing the truck to slam into an empty building. But the driver who caused the crash never stopped. Instead of saving others from an emergency, it was now the firefighters who needed serious medical attention.
When slammed into a building, and now a search is on for another driver suspected of being involved in this incident.
Both the fire trucks were responding to fire emergencies, but in different directions. This led to a horrible crash that made one of them completely flip over. Even when firefighters have the lights and siren of their truck going, some drivers don't have the courtesy to let them through. The firefighters were clearly in a rush, but the driver didn't care and went straight into the truck, causing damage to both vehicles. A fire truck was racing to a scene, but the driver of a white car forgot to check before making a left turn. The firefighters, trying to avoid a crash, swerved and slammed straight into a building. Not only was the fire truck wrecked, but the building also took a hit. This fire truck flipped over and slammed into a guardrail. With firefighters and police swarming the scene, they did everything they could to get things under control. But recovering from an accident like this, with a truck this massive, isn't easy.
Oh, is it? Oh.
It's real light?
Yeah, it's super light.
916 just informing you that 154 technology.
Okay, let me know.
You ready to go?
Yeah. Put chain on it.
Supposedly, we already had a contract with our trucks coming out.
That's fine.
So, but yeah, if you could pull it, and then that way we can get traffic going.
That's fine.
Thanks, sir.
No worries.
Two fire trucks in Patterson collided while responding to a store fire, sending one truck into the side of a market and the other into a tree. The crash happened just before 6 p.m. on Broadway and Straight Street. Both trucks were rushing to a 2-alarm fire at 41 Main Street, but the intense speed led to one truck T-boning the other. 8 firefighters were injured, with 1 seriously hurt. Things can go horribly wrong, even for firefighters who are responding to an emergency. A fire truck collided with a car in Brooklyn, sending 3 people to the hospital. The crash happened just before 8 p.m. at the intersection of South 9th Street and Bedford Avenue in Williamsburg. Emergency responses like this can be tricky, and unfortunately, someone always ends up hurt when things go wrong on the road. Here's another case of a car causing issues for fire trucks. This driver not only ran a red light, but cut in front of the fire truck and got in its way. Driving a fire truck is extremely difficult on its own, but ice just makes it impossible to keep the truck straight, especially through a neighborhood. This fire truck slid right into a parked car, but there was nothing he could really do to control the car. This was the tragic moment when a fire truck, responding to a plane crash, accidentally ran over a survivor. With a scene this complicated, sometimes things can go horribly wrong.
Something to cover that body right there out of the engine.
It's still not known how she got out of the plane. A coroner concluded that she survived the plane crash and died when the fire truck hit her.
Firefighters were responding to an uncontained engine failure of a Boeing 767 at O'Hare International Airport. Things were going fine at first as they were putting out the fire, but another fire truck came out of nowhere and almost caused a collision. The firefighters were rushing to the fire when a car sped toward them from the opposite direction. With everything happening so quickly, it's likely neither driver saw the other in time, leading to a catastrophic crash that completely wrecked the car. The situation could have been even worse if the fire truck was just a few inches closer to the gas pump.
Surveillance tape, and we can see exactly what happened. Top left, the fire truck, top right, the car, boom! The two kiss, then go their separate ways. The fire truck barreling into the gas station here, bringing down power lines. The young lady in front there just saunters on by. Here it is from a different angle, the gas station across the street. Top left again, you'll see the vehicles collide and the fire truck go off into the gas station, hitting that parked silver sedan, dropping the utility pole on top of that. Now, right after the collision, firefighters hop out, go check. We were here within minutes after the emergency call came out over fire dispatch radios of a collision.
This could have gone horribly wrong, but the firefighters were smart. The driver was going really fast with no regard for a fire emergency. If the fire trucks were going any faster, unable to stop in time, it would have been a whole other story. The fire truck was going full speed, and the red car stopped to make way for it. But then, the driver right behind him was going fast and had no time to stop. This sent the red car being rear-ended and sent straight into the fire truck's path. It's common courtesy to give way to a first responder rushing to an emergency, but the guy in the black car didn't get the memo. Here's another example of what happens when you're going so fast that you have no time to stop when there's an obstruction on the road. The crash wasn't too serious, but considering the amount of traffic on the road, it could have been way worse. A LATAM Airlines plane was getting ready to take off from Peru when a fire truck got in the way, causing the plane to catch fire. Fortunately, none of the passengers or crew on the plane were injured because firefighters were nearby.
¡Concha su madre!
A fire truck tried to overtake a semi in the wrong lane and ended up colliding with oncoming traffic. But the semi was also trying to pass a tractor, clipping the fire truck in the process and pushing it into another vehicle. Being a first responder with sirens doesn't excuse passing a long line of traffic that may not see or hear the sirens in time. This fire truck came rushing to a burning apartment building, crashing into a fence and concrete barrier, with faulty brakes on a 20-year-old backup truck blamed for the incident.
Oh, shit! What the
Memphis fire officials say the department needs over 100 new trucks, but slow replacements keep aging vehicles in service and causing accidents like this. A Detroit fire engine was rushing to a call when it crashed into two cars at a busy intersection. The massive 36,000-pound truck sent both vehicles spinning.
Like a NASCAR crash, only this is a 36,000-pound Detroit fire engine. Engine 37, smashing into two cars.
With two civilians and a firefighter injured, this crash became an emergency of its own.